Hey y'all, welcome to Most of It, where I talk about most things that I find interesting. Today, we'll be going over the history of the Primarch Roboute Gulliman. So without further ado, let's get into this. The young Primarch began life by crashing into the surface of the planet Macragge. There, he was found by a group of noblemen who opened his pod to see a child with a glowing aura. The men took him to the governor of Macragge named Conor, who took the child in and, having previously seen the Emperor in a vision, named him Roboute, meaning Great One. Roboute would be raised by Conor and his seneschal named Tarasha Utin, with both acting as a father and mother to the young boy. The Primarch did as Primarchs do, growing quickly and becoming a prodigy in both body and intellect. Roboute's greatest talent, however, was strategy, leading his father to give him command of a campaign against the planet's wildmen. But rather than attack them outright, Guilliman simply occupied their shrines, and when attacked by the wildmen's chieftain, only defended himself from the man who soon grew tired. Then Guilliman presented the chieftain with a sacred artifact which had been stolen from them by the consuls of Macragge a while back. Moved by this gesture, the chieftain sought to be a just leader like unto Guilliman, causing him to pull back all his forces from the cities of Macragge. Upon his return to the city, Roboute found utter chaos, as a consul had attempted a coup and fatally wounded Conor. With his dying breath, Conor told his son who was responsible, with Guilliman swiftly crushing all rebellion and reforming the planet's government to a meritocracy, with the hard-working and honest holding office, with the world soon prospering like it had never before. Soon, the Emperor arrived upon Macragge, and was thoroughly impressed with his son's accomplishments, with him giving him command of the Ultramarines Legion. The Ultramarines' accomplishments during the Great Crusade were second only to the Luna Wolves, in terms of how many planets were conquered and how good of a state they were left in afterwards. Upon conquering a world, Guilliman would stay on it until trade routes and a stable government had been established, leaving in a well-ordered state. This low casualty rate and their steady flow of new recruits, and possibly some 2nd and 11th Legion shenanigans, soon made the Ultramarines the largest known Space Marine Legion. Upon Horus's appointment as War Master, Guilliman agreed with this choice, leading him and Rogal Dorn to become two of Horus's closest advisors. Guilliman respected most of his brothers, even naming Dorn, Sanguinius, Russ, and Ferrus Manus as his dauntless few, stating that he could win any war with one of these four and their respective legion by his side. On the other hand, however, Roboute and his sons were ordered by the Emperor to destroy the word-bearer city of Monarchia during their shaming, causing understandable resentment from his brother Lorgar, with Guilliman feeling unsure at the Emperor's use of his legion. At the start of the Horus heresy, the Ultramarines were purposefully stationed at a system too far away to be of any immediate help. Upon mustering their forces at the planet Calth, they were attacked by the Word-bearers, with the Ultramarines suffering great losses. However, Roboute was able to muster a counterattack and successfully drove off the Word-bearers, who soon began assaulting isolated worlds in the Ultramar sector with the World Eaters Legion. Soon after their victory at Calth, the Ultramarines met with Sanguinius and his legion, escaping Cygnus. With his brother at his side, Guilliman began countering Lorgar's and Angron's Shadow Crusade, soon driving them off to the world Nuceria. There, Guilliman would meet his traitorous brothers in battle, with them soon being overwhelmed but being saved by his sons, just as Angron was ascended to demonhood. Since they were cut off from Terra by the Ruin Storm, Roboute feared the death of the Emperor, and after activating an ancient Xenos device called the Pharos, met by his brother Lionel Johnson and his legion. With the help of the Lion and Sanguinius, Guilliman formed Imperium Secundus, and placed Sanguinius as its emperor until the status of Terra could be verified. Soon, as Conrad Kurz began slaughtering his people, Guilliman would track him with the Lion, however they had little success initially. The two brothers soon began clashing about how they would track down Kurz, with the Lion stating that martial law should be enacted. But after Guilliman's refusal, the Lion secretly instituted it with his own legion. Soon after Kurz's capture, they held a trial with the Night Haunter accusing the Lion of using secret orbital attacks against Guilliman's wishes. This caused Sanguinius to dismiss his brother, with Roboute even breaking the Lion's sword on his way out. Soon, however, the Lion would return, telling his brothers that if Kurz's visions were correct, that Terra still stood, and they should make their way there immediately. Soon, during their voyage through the Ruin Storm, Guilliman would survive a Word-bearer's assassination attempt, and would follow Sanguinius down to the planet Davin, where he and the Lion would destroy a massive soul grinder. With them leaving Davin, as it was destroyed, Guilliman saw it left a breach in the Ruin Storm, through which they all could make it to Terra. However, Horus had foreseen this, and had placed traitor blockades near it. Knowing that time was of the essence, Roboute and the Lion agreed that they would stay and distract the traitor forces while Sanguinius and his sons booked it toward Terra. After doing all he could in the outer systems, Guilliman gathered his forces and made their way to Terra, with them being mere hours away as the Emperor stepped aboard Horus's ship for their fateful duel. Arriving too late to make any difference in the siege of Terra and being racked with guilt at his father's state, Guilliman assumed the title of Lord Commander of the Imperium and began taking back worlds from the traitor forces, doling out justice as he went. In an effort to prevent another heresy from ever happening again, he wrote the Codex Astartes, which divided the legions into chapters, thus keeping them from becoming too powerful. Guilliman would also task the tech priest Belisarius Cawl with developing a method of resurrection for him should he fall in battle, and with the creation of the next generation of Space Marines. This would come in handy, as in a battle against the Emperor's Children Legion, Guilliman's throat would be slit by Fulgrim with a poisoned sword. The Ultramarines were able to inter their father in a stasis field just before the moment of death in hopes of one day healing him. For the next 10,000 years, Guilliman would remain, with many making a pilgrimage to see the Primarch with their own eyes. However, shortly after Abaddon's 13th Black Crusade, Cawl would make his way to Macragge, where he revealed that with the aid of the Eldar, he had developed a way to revive the Avenging Sun, using a suit of power armor which would heal his wounds. Just as the Black Legion began invading Macragge, Guilliman awoke and swiftly drove them off. Disgusted at the filth and decay of the Imperium, Guilliman decided to return to Terra and speak with his father, which while on his way there, he was attacked by Magnus the Red and his legion, with Guilliman becoming trapped with magic chains made of his own doubts. However, thanks to the help of some Harlequins, he was able to escape through the webway, where he would also defeat a bloodthirster demon of Khorne named Skarbrand. Guilliman was teleported to the surface of the moon, where Magnus would again attack him, with Roboute being initially overwhelmed by his brother's psychic might. But thanks to reinforcements from the Sisters of Silence, he was able to drive his brother into the webway as the gate was sealed. Upon finally making it to Terra, Guilliman would make his way to his father, who awoke for the first time in millennia, and having lost much of his humanity after 10,000 years of suffering, assaulted his son's mind with dark truths of the galaxy, telling him that he is humanity's last hope. Falling to the ground in agony, Guilliman requested help from his father, and after rising, received a new determination, and began reorganizing the Imperium, removing its filth and corruption and declaring himself Imperial Regent, the living hand of the Emperor. He soon had to defend Terra from the forces of Khorne in the Second Battle of Terra, and afterwards launched the Indominus Crusade to reclaim isolated Terran worlds. With the new Primaris Marines by his side, this crusade was largely successful. However, he was forced to rush back to Ultramar to help his sons defend from the forces of Nurgle. Soon he encountered his brother Mortarion and attacked him. However, his brother's enhanced demon abilities were too much for Guilliman, and Mortarion tainted him with the God Blight, a sickness which could kill even a Primarch. As Guilliman tried to fight off the blight, he soon succumbed to it and began to die for the second time. However, right at the moment of death, the Emperor's psychic might flowed through him, and becoming a conduit of the Emperor himself, Guilliman raised his father's sword and unleashed a psychic attack that burned the Garden of Nurgle, wounding the god himself. Afterwards, Guilliman, being healed from his wounds, began to question his former disbelief in gods and began preparing for the return of his father, a task which he is working on currently. So that's what the story stands for now, and I've told y'all what my favorite Primarchs are, but I think we can all agree that Guilliman is objectively the best one. Even if you don't like him, you gotta admit he's the best at his job. Guilliman's story so far is one of benevolence, both as a leader and a father. His relationships with his sons are very unique among the Primarchs, with him often turning to them for advice and guidance. His story is also a lesson in just how important a stable, loving home can be, as he undoubtedly had the best raising of all his brothers. If you want to learn more about Roboute Gulliman and his legion, I'd recommend reading the books The Unremembered Empire, Know No Fear, and Pharos. Well, that's all I got for today, y'all. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and comment down below what topics or characters you'd like to see me cover next. With all that said, I'll see y'all later.